Yo, welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan, mate. Hope you're doing well. Really do help that. Welcome back to Chelsea News. That's right, again, take two or part two Chelsea News today. We want to talk about all sorts of things popping off. Fofana, potential transfer request to Leicester City, Leicester. Christian Pulisic out on maybe a loan to Manchester United, if not sold to Newcastle. We need to talk about that. We're going to talk about what Nizar Kinsella of the Evening Standard says about that loan. I'll give you my thoughts on it. I'll be interested to learn yours. Maybe a bit of Aubameyang and De Jong, mate. Lots of stuff going on. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for liking the video. Let's see if we can get over 3,000 likes, mate. That would be nice. You could help me contribute towards that by simply clicking the button. You're welcome to subscribe, should you choose to do so. Hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby. Here we are. All right. Should we start off with Christian Pulisic, fam? Captain America, the icon of the US men's national team, whatever how you say it. The jewel in the crown. A high-octane, dribbly transitional player that can score goals and be very effective on his day that's been plagued with injury, dips of form, mismanagement, and a tweeting father. Let's see what Nizar Kinsella has reported. Manchester United have sounded out Chelsea winger Christian Pulisic over a possible loan transfer. The 23-year-old could be tempted by a loan move to Old Trafford after increasingly finding himself on the fringes of Thomas Tuchel's squad. Pulisic is frustrated by his lack of minutes under Tuchel and is considering leaving Chelsea. The US captain, who has had less than 2 years left on his contract and cost Chelsea £58 million in 2019, wants more regular football ahead of Qatar. United are also said to be interested in Hakim Ziyech as well as Hudson-Odoi. Manchester United want all our wingers. All the wingers. All the wingers. Sorry, I'll stop saying that now. But that's a lot, bro. Why do they want all our wingers? Look, by the way, 58 million for Pulisic at the time. Yeah, it was a lot, but, you know, what he brings in terms of, like, what he represents as a sort of marketing, blah, 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 blah. You know, it's worth a lot of money. He's young, he's promising. Before that hamstring injury in the FA Cup final, he looked scintillating at times under Frank Lampard. So, you know, lest we forget, man. Let's read on. The interest in Pulisic comes as Chelsea have several unhappy attacking players who believe Tuchel's system inhibits their ability to be effective attacking players, prioritizing defensive solidity instead. Pause! To a degree, I will agree with this. But I'm not criticizing it. I'm frustrated, and I think Tuchel, Chelsea, the players, everyone wants to score more goals. But there was that Sky Sports graphic floating around, I should have prepared it for the video, about how Chelsea have had, like, they were first for shots on targets, first for, like, you know, plays in the final third, etc. But we were 13th for goals scored and shots converted. The players were underachieving, but yes, it's that's not a cop-out. It's up to the coach to get the most out of the players. So it's a collective failure. We have to be balanced here, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. But, riddle me this, ladies and gentlemen. Could we do better than Tuchel? Absolutely ruddy not. In fact, we could get a good coach like ten-hag coming into the Premier League and being like, oh my god, this is terrifying, and then we lose 4-0 to Brentford. Genuinely can happen. Be careful what you wish for. But at the same time, I understand and, you know, forgive players for feeling like that. And fair play, man. They're all talented players, but like we've said so many times, they've come from different managers, ethoses, philosophies. Tuchel needs to build. Mason Mount, he trusts. He's like, right, Mason Mount, you're good. You're going to be in the front three no matter what. You score goals, you assist, you work hard, you tactically understand, you know, the team. Brilliant. Raheem Sterling, Thomas Tuchel's genuine first attacking target, not accepting Romelu Lukaku once offered to him, being like, yeah, right, being like, no, bring me Raheem Sterling. Thomas Tuchel has reiterated over and over and over, Sterling is his profile of player, and he looks like he fits like a glove. Do you know what I mean? And that was Tuchel's first attacking real target being delivered to him. So why not afford him the opportunity to build an attack like that? And let these guys skedaddle. They can skedaddle. No one says skedaddle anymore. They're interested in... so we read that. Chelsea are maintaining their bid to try and sign Anthony Gordon from Everton in a key day of talks between the two clubs. Hudson-Odoi can leave on loan, with Newcastle joining Dortmund, Leicester and Southampton in the race to sign Cho. Ziyech is still keen to leave Stamford Bridge also, despite Milan no longer being interested. Oh, I didn't know that. An update from Nizar Kinsella there about Milan no longer being interested in Hakim Ziyech. So how do we feel about this? Manchester United's scattergun transfer approach, seemingly just needing wingers. Mason Greenwood is gone from the squad. He should probably never return to top-tier football. Rashford, poor form, I suppose. Sancho, good wide forward. But, would they play a false... I suppose you could play a false nine with Christian Pulisic. Like, he'd make much more sense as a false nine than Bruno Fernandes or Christian Eriksen, which Ten Hag has tried so far. As well, Anthony Martial is out. But then again, of course, if you play a Hakim Ziyech, you probably move Sancho onto the left, play Ziyech on the right. If somehow they get Hudson-Odoi, I would feel kind of bad that Manchester United have got Jadon Sancho on one side and Hudson-Odoi on the other. These two, both similar age, really high potential, tricky wingers. Loads of you will watch this and be like, oh, yeah, Hudson-Odoi, like, he's not done it. But the truth is, he is mustard in terms of ability. He just is, man. He is. People who've watched him, the coaches who've been around him, he just is. He is. He's got that potential. I'm not saying he should start for Chelsea. No, not at all. He should go and do something else. But there's something about that would really grind my gears watching Sancho and Hudson-Odoi on opposite flanks potentially cook long-term for Manchester United. That wouldn't sit right with me. In fact, both of them should have cooked for Chelsea. So, on Pulisic, if this story's got legs, I'm going to give you my opinion on it now. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. Manchester United are, of course, a massive club, good fan base in terms of like dedicated. If he can become that sort of icon for them, scoring goals, playing well, he could like really build himself back up to the point where we sell him. I don't really want to sell him to United. I saw a lot of people, is it CFC Daily on Twitter, saying, sell him, or get Man United and Newcastle to do a bidding war for him because he's got 2 years left on his deal. If he goes on a loan spell, it comes out with 12 months left on his deal. He almost certainly won't re-sign. He'll want to go and get a big contract elsewhere, either on a free or knowing that Chelsea have to sell him for less, so he has more options. I get that. I just think it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if he does well at Manchester United, looks really good, and then comes back to Chelsea. It would be quite funny if Manchester United foster a player for us and develop it. You expect it from Crystal Palace of Conor Gallagher because they get enough out of it and they understand that's what their role is. But if you get that from Manchester United, they make Pulisic great again, only to come back to Chelsea and perform. That would be lovely. Granted, I know it's a long shot for it to work like that. It is tricky, though. I do fully understand why this is a difficult situation, and I understand why this would split opinion, but ultimately, if Chelsea are willing to let him go, he's probably on high wages, he's not playing that much. You can bring in, a youngster or someone with less wages, or structure their wages better to do bonuses, like we've said before, with Bowley wanting to... it could make sense. Remember... Todd Bowley, when he bought the Dodgers, he paid players to leave. He took loads of L's. He had to clear out. This might be another one of those situations. We'll see. So let's move on. Talk about a couple of things before the end. Wesley Fofana. Julien Laurens, of course, a French journalist, but covers the Premier League and stuff. He has said on Wesley Fofana, he really does want to go to Chelsea. I think this will happen. I saw him Saturday, and I think he will put a transfer request in and eventually go to Chelsea. This is the next level. He wants to work with Thomas Tuchel and Thiago Silva. Très très bien, mon ami Julien. I am pleased to hear that. Of course, we've seen he wants to come to Chelsea, the Chelsea kit photos, the idolising Didier Drogba quotes, and etc. etc., it doesn't surprise me that on top of that sort of almost quite generic Chelsea links, that he wants to work with Thomas Tuchel and Thiago Silva. Of course, he'll speak French with Thiago Silva. Well, he speaks English anyway, but he'll speak French to Thomas Tuchel. Do you know what I mean? There's that opportunity to just become excellent there, and that's really, really interesting. I'm starting to think that this will happen as well. It did seem so far-fetched because it was such going to be an astronomical fee, but in the spirit of just spending loads of money for the first transfer window, the CBS Sports, Ben Jacobs did a piece with Barbara Sharon. Go check it out. It's a really interesting read on her being a Chelsea fan, but also talking about her experience on the Chelsea board and the new owners. It's quite interesting actually how they're kind of shocked and maybe even appalled how the previous ownership didn't keep enough data on players, so they really want to crank that up and run Chelsea a lot better in terms of being a data-driven, infrastructure. But she says, look, after this first transfer window, or Ben Jacobs reports, after this first transfer window, there'll be a lot more rigid structure in terms of targeting players. But Chelsea will throw their financial weight around initially this summer, like they already have, but they will continue to do so because they have this ability afforded to them. So therefore, Wesley Fofana for serious P's might happen. Managing Barca, a Twitter account, are referencing Fabrizio Romano saying Frankie de Jong knows that Chelsea are ready to do something big to sign him. Of course, Frankie de Jong remains Chelsea's priority midfield target, and with the concerns of N'Golo Kante, that sort of, right double six player that runs around a lot, with him being injured, Chelsea are looking for a long-term solution, and of course, Frankie de Jong, though a bit different in profile, would, be a midfielder that roams around and sort of intercepts and play makes and ball carries. He could be a replacement for N'Golo Kante, especially in a back three system when you have that cover of three centre backs behind you as a midfielder. Gerard Romero, of course, famous to us Chelsea fans this summer, who does the Twitch channel about Barca transfers. Aubameyang to Chelsea is very hot. Now, the player, Aubameyang himself, has been very, very quiet. Radio silence on this. He's not said anything. And it's just conversations between the clubs, Chelsea and Barcelona. Like I said this morning, in this morning's video, it's probably a case of trying to somehow crowbar a negotiation for Marcos Alonso in. It was reported they wanted 30 million euros for Aubameyang. That is too much for a guy who's 33, and they probably do with getting rid of his wages now that his wages double after the first year. So that's the Barcelona stuff. And Fabrizio Romano on Galazzo Pod also spoke about how Chelsea and Fofana have an agreement on a 6-year deal. This, of course, lines up and aligns with Chelsea's new strategy of giving young players long-term deals structured in such a way where they get it's like bonus-driven, so they have incentives to do well. And, of course, Chelsea are buying players for now, like, Sterling and, Koulibaly, etc., possibly Aubameyang, but massively buying for the future as well, with loads of youngsters being targeted. Boom! What do you think, though? I'm really interested in reading the comments on this one, man, so make sure you get down there and comment down below. Thank you for dropping a like. Let's see if we can get over 3,000. Subscribe if you're new, only if you want to, but if you choose to do so, hit the sweet, sweet bell. Alright, I'm out. Peace.